loud can you scream comfort movie? Hi, welcome to The Swamp. It's our podcast. It's an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
God, and I felt I needed a little comfort this week, so for 80s month, we chose a pretty non-iconic 80s movie, but it did come out in 1989, so you cannot fault us on that.
I'd say it's iconic, but I wouldn't put it in, 80s movie.
Well, yes, I would say it's an iconic movie. It's not an iconic 80s movie.
80s movie, yeah.
You don't see Kiki and immediately think, oh, that's where Stranger Things pulled that reference from. No, that's not the 80s we're talking about here. And I personally find this movie more nostalgic as an American with the late 90s because the Disney English dub version came out in 1998. Yeah. So I think that's when it sort of had, a reboom in the late 90s, early 2000s because of the Disney version. With Miss Kirsten Dunst.
It's Kirsten Dunst?
Yes, she's Kiki in the Disney one.
I didn't know that.
Well, yes. And
oh my god.
Oh yeah, Disney stays pulling the randomest A-list celebrities to be the Miyazaki English dub. Disney really went so hard for no reason. They're we're gonna get Christian Bale. They're no, don't even worry. Yeah. We have Christian Bale money. Yeah, very young Kirsten Dunst. Kirsten Dunst did a phenomenal job as young Kiki. I usually tend to watch the subtitle version. I like to watch it in Japanese just because it's usually that's how it was meant to be watched. But this time around, I needed to turn my brain off, so I did watch the English dub version this time.
Yeah,
and I was who is that? And I was damn, okay. Hi, Kirsten.
Yeah.
So, which version did you watch?
I watched the English dub. Again, I think I needed it, but I would like to start watching more Studio Ghibli movies, actually in Japanese.
Yeah, it's my preference, but sometimes as far as attention span thing, I'm I gotta give myself a break this time around. But I feel I always put subtitles on when I'm watching TV in general. So I feel it's not too hard of a switch if you're that kind of person already. It's really not that hard to watch something in another language because I'm already reading subtitles even when it's English. So what is your sort of history with this movie?
I don't have any history with this movie, really. I had watched this for the first time about 2 years ago or so, and I liked it, but I was on a big Studio Ghibli kick at the time, so, watching it compared to, Princess Mononoke or, just Spirited Away or Howls or something like that, it was kind of okay, it's good, but it didn't rank very high. But I really appreciated it this time around. I love that the stakes are just about nothing.
Right? Yep.
Perfect for a comfort movie.
I love that. She's bitch, I have to eat some oatmeal. Stat. She's
literally.
I got caught outside and now I have a little bit of a cold. And I'm oh God, what are you gonna do, Kiki? Eat that oatmeal, girl. Rest up.
Exactly. I really enjoyed it a lot this time around. But what's your relationship with it? Because I feel you watched this probably when you were 13 and you're I am a young witch.
Well, yes. Well, not only was I doing that, but I watched this movie as a little kid. My mom would put this on.
Stop.
Yeah, my mom would put this on for me when I was little, early 2000s, when the Disney one came out. It was the same year I was born, so, a little after, but it was very, very popular in our household. I have a little Kiki's Delivery Service shirt from Hot Topic that I still squeeze into today from when I was 13. Yes, all throughout I think this would be the Ghibli movie with the max nostalgia factor for me, because I think I didn't really get into it until, you said, about age 13, where I was oh, that movie from my childhood I really like. There's so many more of these, and let's get into it. And that's when I sort of got into, Spirited Away and sort of opening those doors to Ghibli films. But yeah, as a girl with brown hair, I have a Kiki's Delivery Service Halloween costume on standby 24/7 in my closet. All you need, black t-shirt dress, a big red bow, stuffed Gigi. Very comprehensive. You can get a broom if you want, but super easy, and you can nail it. You can fucking nail it.
Easy.
And just have that at all times.
And it's a classic. You have two of your own Gigis, though.
Well,
and
yes.
Watching this movie really made me think, Maybe I should get a companion. Maybe I need a cat.
Maybe I need a cat who can sort of be my inner monologue, and then when I finally break through and become an adult, it'll stop talking to me, and that will only add to my depression. So fucking sad when Gigi stops talking in this movie, and she's like, well, I must be an adult now. I'm like, no, cling on to that part of your childhood. Let your cat talk to you. I guess in the, they re-released a version in 2010 that had like some different like audio mixing for the Disney dub, and I guess they added in at the end that Gigi talks again at the very end of the film, whereas in the original Gigi stays quiet. Gigi never talks again after.
He's meowing,
yeah, and it's sort of like, well, this is just how it is now, and we're gonna accept it and still have the companionship. But I think that Disney re-adding back in that he talks at the end that's not the fucking point, bro. You missed the point. The point is that that is a part of her childhood. That's her imaginary friend, and that she's maturing. Bro, take that out of your fucking re-release. But I do have 2 black cats. I have 2 black cats, and so my most recent... So I watched this movie for the podcast yesterday, obviously, but a pretty significant time where this movie really swept in as ultimate comfort film for me. I think in my life, movies that have been there for me when I needed them the most are this movie and Moonrise Kingdom. Neither of which I would say are my favorite films by any stretch, but just when I need to be captured in a world of whimsy and low stakes. We're baking pies. We're doing something cutesy, and it's going to take my mind off of whatever's going on in my real life. Is that I had reconstructive facial surgery, and after I wake up from being under anesthetics for 10 hours, they were like, so you're gonna get home and you're not gonna be sleepy because you've just been medically put to sleep all fucking day. So they're like, even though you're gonna be in pain and you're gonna be exhausted, you are gonna be up for probably like the next 5-6 hours. And they're like, and the pain meds are not gonna kick in until like 3 to 4 hours from now. So they're like, sorry, you will just be kind of miserable for the next window of time. And I was like, well, okay. And so I get home.
I didn't know this.
I get home and I take my liquid oxy or whatever they gave me. And I'm like, okay, well, now I just have to sit around here with a fucking swollen balloon face and like bandages. I had like cotton all stuffed in my mouth. And I just was like sitting there and I couldn't move. And Henry's like, and the whole car ride home, I was like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to have my black cat sit on my lap. I'm going to watch Kiki's Delivery Service. I was like, I'm thinking like, there's like weird fluids seeping out of my face. And I'm like, all I gotta do is make it through this car ride, take that oxy, wait for it to kick in, and sit on my couch with a real black cat in my lap and watch that movie on my TV screen. And I know that will do just about as much as any medicine, right? And so that's what I did, and it was it was awful. I felt horrendous, but I was like, this is the max amount that I can do for myself right now. Like there's truly nothing else. And then I watched Happy Feet. So if you go listen to our episode about Happy Feet, where I'm sure I also tell this exact same story, but then then the oxy kicked in, and then I put on Happy Feet, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Because all you want to do is sleep. Right? All you want to do is like, I just want to fucking go to bed, but like my body was not tired because I was like in fucking fight or flight healing mode. Yeah. Which is like kind of ass. But yeah, ultimate comfort movie. I think this movie makes me feel like a big warm hug. And like you said, I like that the stakes are kind of low, but I do think that is why I would agree with you that it ranks sort of low in the entire Studio Ghibli canon. Hayao Miyazaki of like what I've seen, although I love this one a lot, it ranks a little lower to me. I feel like this is almost the proto Spirited Away. Like he had to make this movie to really figure out the sort of like coming of age girlhood thing, and then he really nailed it with Chihiro. Like I love Kiki.
He locked in.
He locked in it, and it's a little more phantasmagorical, a little more whimsy, a little more, there's talking animals and shit, which is just more fun. But I think that story is also just like fundamentally deeper because the stakes are higher, more is happening. Whereas this movie's like about a blimp that crashes, right?
Basically.
And it's like, okay.
That's the whole third act.
Right. It's like, they're like, the dirigible. And I'm like, what's going to happen? Whereas it's like,
oh my God.
Which it is life or death, in a sense. It is life or death. But Kiki's like, I just need to get my magical boner back up. And
yeah, right. She's like, I gotta get my money up, and then, we're all set.
She's like, we stay monetizing our hobbies, and we stay...
Literally.
We stay losing inspiration. We stay getting depressed from that.
Yeah. Can't say I blame her, because, I love to cook. And mind you, I cooked a fire meal for this watch last night. And I was sitting there, I was like, man... Every now and then when I do, like, a really nice meal like that, I'm like, I should have gone to culinary school. And then I have 0.2 seconds where I believe it. And then I'm like, no. That would have been hell.
I would be addicted to cocaine and I would be dead in a ditch if I worked in a restaurant. I'm not built like that. Are you kidding me? I know, I've never considered food, but my husband, Henry, he's a great chef. And people all throughout his... early adulthood, we're like, you're such a good cook. Why are you not, trying to make that a career? And he's always like, well, I'm going to stop enjoying it at home. And I'm like, I love that I at home get those meals and people out in the world don't get them. I like that I get them. And if he made them out in the world, he would stop making them. So I was like, no, don't tell him to go to culinary school. Tell him to make me dinner. Tell him to take care of his wife. God. But I feel like that's something our generation does a little less, and hopefully less and less throughout time. People will stop encouraging each other. Like, why are you not trying to make money off of this? Anything that you're good at or that you enjoy, just immediately is like, how can we capitalize on this? And I think that mindset is very obviously a product of the system that we live in. But like, let people just enjoy things, right? Like, you can be good at something and have it be for yourself, or even like share it with your friends, right? Not everything has to be like an enterprise.
Exactly. I could, if I was gonna do something like that, I could be that girl, Wishbone Kitchen on TikTok. I could be a private chef in the Hamptons. Beyond
I'm not
that,
nice enough.
Huh?
They do something. I'm not nice enough. I'd be cooking them meals, and then they'd say some weird rich people shit around me, and I'd be like, "Ew, absolutely
Get
not."
out of my face.
I'd make fun of that. Their son is named like Kyler or something,
Braxton.
And they'd be like, "We have to let you go."
Yeah, absolutely.
They're like, "You also only made us buttered noodles for a week," and I'm like, "Well, get what you get.
That's what you paid for."
Sorry, I'm just not feeling very inspired. I'm not feeling very inspired right now. Sorry.
Yeah, no. What do you want me to do about that?
I need Ursula to come sweep me away, bring me to her cabin, and say, "Girl, you just need to chill." Honestly, what amazing advice.
Yeah. Truly.
Miss Ursula, lesbian, drawing birds in the woods and just living her best life.
That is a cottagecore lesbian if I've ever seen one.
Mm-hmm. Living the dream, truly. I want to sit on my roof and draw birds all day. Girl, what do you do for money?
Right.
You're telling Kiki, girl, just take a break. How do you pay your bills, Ursula? Literally that.
I'm like, she's definitely just squatting in that cabin too.
Yeah, for sure.
She like found it and she's like, "Hey, I mean, it's here, ripe for the picking.
Look at all these birds." She's like, "Oh, it's infested with pigeons. No, new friends."
Exactly.
Making the best of a bad situation.
She is an opportunist if I've ever seen one. Oh my god. Yeah, I was kind of wondering, I'm like, how old is Ursula supposed to be? Because Kiki, they let you know she is 13. That is a young 13-year-old witch.
Mm-hmm. I want to say Ursula seems, I want to say 18 because she's living alone, but maybe early 20s. But I definitely see a very older sister, younger sister relationship between the two of them. So I would even say it may be a good decade. Like, she's like maybe 23. They drew her she looks very young, but I would, she lives in a house by herself. So I would imagine
she's got it.
That maybe she's not a teenager. I would hope that she's not a teenager.
Yeah.
Miss Ursula.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I also want to mention that I, throughout the entire movie, did not realize that the oh god, what's her name?
Osono
and the baker married. Didn't realize. Had no idea. I for some reason I did not put two and two together. I just thought he was some stoic man that loves to bake that she kept around.
Yeah, he doesn't talk a lot. He's just sort of there, and she just is pregnant, and that's just for you to kind of connect the dots if you so please. But it is like they live at the bakery. So you would kind of hope, right? Like, no, we're just hanging out. Like, we're just having a kid together. We're business partners. It's not a big deal. We just thought it'd be convenient, for marketing, family business.
We figured we'd co-parent, I trust him. He trusts me.
He's going to bake the bread. I'm going to do the books. It just seemed logical.
Do you feel like Gigi was a precursor to, oh God, why am I thinking? He's right behind you.
Oh, well, yes, I thought exactly. So I almost thought that this was like the voice actor. Oh, let me look
Billy Crystal.
So he sounds a lot like Billy Crystal. And let me Google his name so we can... Because it's actually quite interesting. The English dub cast, because I almost always watch it in Japanese, so this time around I watched the dub, and I was like, who are these people? And that's why I was like, oh my God, Kirsten Dunst. But I was looking at the cast, and the guy who voices Gigi is like a very well-known voice actor, comedian.
Sure.
Named Phil Hartman, and he's like on The Simpsons, and he's a big cartoon voice guy, but he was murdered the year this movie came out, so he never got to like see it because he was murder-suicided by his wife. Content warning, I guess, trigger warning for violence.
Oh my God!
Yeah, he was killed the year this came out, but so I was looking into that because I was like, who is this man? It sounds like Billy Crystal. And that sort of comedic inflection, I think maybe the response to it was so positive that they're like, oh, we should do like a quirky little sidekick character who is sort of like a no-nonsense kind of, but like punchy. Yeah, I think a lot of the vibes maybe, because like I mentioned that they did like a remastered version in 2010. They included a bunch of like ad-lib lines that he did, like an off-script ad-lib, like voice actor stuff that they threw in there, and they added like a dedication to him, like, because he passed away. But they were like, we'll add in his like funny little quippy bits. So I think if you watch the dub version now, you get like a little bit more of the script of what he put into the Gigi character versus straying a bit more from the original source material.
Yeah, which I felt like I could see. Like, there was one line in particular that I was like, oh, this isn't a kid's movie, but it was like Kiki talking about how Ursula wants to like draw her or whatever, and he's like naked. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, right. This movie feels very G, like rated G across the board.
Which is,
like,
again, perfect for the comfort movie.
I love it. No violence. Well, because Miyazaki movies often do deal with like war and violence.
Yes.
So even though this one kind of does like in an abstract sense because of the dirigible, right? I feel like big aircraft is always insinuating some kind of war. But I was looking into sort of the context of this film, and I guess Miyazaki went to Stockholm, Sweden, to do a lot of the art design for the fictional city that they set this in. So it's very much based on like a, fictionalized Stockholm, Sweden, kind of that part of Europe area. But he also like mentions that this alternate reality of this sort of European city design also takes place in a world where World Wars 1 and 2 have not existed. Like it seems like it's probably like the 40s or 50s in the film from like what I can kind of tell, but it's like war did not happen, right? We're like, we're not scared of blimps because like the Hindenburg disaster did not happen. Like we love blimps. Actually, there's no war.
We're actually so about blimps.
We are so about peace, love, unity, community building, uplifting one another, found family, and blimps. Also,
Aviation Club went hard as fuck.
So I love the use, if anything about Hayao Miyazaki, is that we know he's putting a plane in that movie.
There is an aircraft.
There is an aircraft. And Miyazaki's dad was the owner of an airplane manufacturing company during World War II. So that's why he has such
makes sense.
Unique and like personal connection with specifically planes being used in war, like war airships. Which you see throughout almost all of his movies are some sort of like massive war airship that represents like, the industry of evil and, the corruption of society at the hands of war and conflict. But I loved the use of the plane in this because we usually get it as this sort of big scary war motif, but here it was used more as like a juxtaposition of old and new. Kiki flies on her broom, whereas Tombo's really into this like new mechanical way of flying. And Kiki's always kind of dealing with like the old way and the new way, right? Like witches wear black, that's tradition. But she's like, but I want to do it my way. I want to wear a little cute little bow, and I'm going to listen to my radio. And I'm going to just like be witching my way, which
I'm going to be serving. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to serve.
Oh, honey, I'm going to deliver. She's going to be delivering. If I know anything about Miss Kiki, it's that she stays delivering. Actually, though, she really doesn't. She fucks up most of her deliveries.
Yes. I mean,
yes.
Well, okay, hold on. The herring pie, not fucked up.
No,
she made
but
that shit happen.
That's true. At the expense of her own well-being, to be fair.
I mean, I can't say I would do anything else, though. If an old lady asked me for help, who am I to say no?
I would say, bitch, I cannot bake. I'm gonna fuck it up. I will mess up your pie. If anything, I'll bring it.
Well, you just have to start a fire, basically. She's got the pie.
That's true. Fair wages for fair work, though. Come on, you best be paying me. She did, though. She cut Kiki a little check, a cute little check.
She got bands, dude.
That was nice, though. Kiki immediately was like, well, I'm going to start this delivery service. And someone says, can you deliver this for me? And she says, yes. And then she just immediately fucks it up. She drops it out of the sky. I'm like, girl, where are your standard operating procedures? Like, we need to be locking this in. I need a tracking code.
Oh my God. OSHA would have a field day with Kiki.
They're like, girl, you put your live cat in the package and dropped it off at the house. That is so wrong on so many levels.
Kiki, you're not using a dolly to move that 100-pound package that you have? What the fuck?
Kiki, you're using your broom? That's not certified.
No. We need to get that inspected before you ride it.
But the thing I like about Kiki a lot is that even though she does fuck it up, her only magic seems to be that she can fly. Right, so she bumps into this cunt bitch in the sky. She's flying around, she leaves home. They say, oh, you're 13, you're in 8th grade now, you should go live by yourself. And
yeah, you're ready.
They say now is the time, her mom, who's like making fucking potions, she's like, not only is it time for you to leave, but we're just gonna tell you the phrase witch training, and you can just make of that what you will, right? Because she gets out there, and she's like, Gigi, where should we go? And I'm like, girl, there's no wizard school. There's no place. I'm like, you don't have like a mentor who's set up in a city who's gonna like. Nothing.
They didn't send her with a single book.
Her radio, her cat, and her cunty little outfit, and they said, make it happen. You know what? They said, well, if you're a real witch, you'll make it happen.
That's all you need, I guess. Who's gonna teach her potions?
Well, I guess no one, because she says, my specialty is flying. She says, I can do one thing as a witch, I can fly, and let's capitalize on that, baby. She's like, I don't need a new skill. I can fly. So true. No one else can fly.
Kiki's not going to be casting spells. Kiki's going to be baking croissants.
Yeah, right. But I do like, though, that her magic is so limited, so she has to navigate all of these problems with, like, human creativity and problem solving, right? She can't just, like, cast magic to get the toy back, right? Because she doesn't fucking know how. So it's very immature and underdeveloped, but she has to, like, be a person and think smart.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of magic things, like magic, in fictional contexts, is that they just use the magic to sort of deus ex machina themselves out of plot holes. And I'm like, well, then why did you present that problem if the solution was just going to be like an uncreative use of magic, right? That's what bothers me a lot about like, fantasy magic realm media a lot, is that I'm like, make your magic system make sense, right? And have there be limitations so that the problems being solved can actually have like struggles to them, other than just like, and then we switch the one and then it works out and that's fine, right? So fucking
everything's
boring.
Good. Yeah.
We just do some magic about it. We fix that up. Because I like when the problem has more layers to it. But yeah, Miss Kiki, she meets this cunt bitch in the sky and she says, I am a fortune teller and you need to turn your radio down. And Kiki says, oh, sorry, I'm 13. Sorry, I just left home 10 minutes ago. Sorry, I didn't realize you were going to be such a fucking bitch. And she's like, oh, you're from a little town. Yeah, good luck out there, babe. And Kiki's just sort of like, okay, right, let's go. But I like that you go.
No, I just like Kiki's easy demeanor.
Yes, I wish I had that. When everything she says, she's like, yay! She's like, let's go, let's do it,
I need that. Like, the only people that have that vibe about them that I know and meet are old ladies.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they're insufferable. Because usually in real life, when people are too cheery like that, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, no, but
I don't think Kiki is too cheery. I feel like she gets pretty down about stuff, and I think she deals with her own. She deals with her own trials and tribulations, and that girl got a little depressed. Like, down
in the dumps. Not even the oatmeal could save
her.
Down
in the dumps.
But I feel like I've been trying to unironically, well, a little ironically, incorporate the Anakin Skywalker yippee into my day-to-day lexicon. It's just, I feel like it just adds a little pizzazz to any situation if you're just like, yippee! Right? Like, or like, hip hip hooray! If something is just nice, like clicking your heels and letting out a little yippee it's actually kind of nice. It's kind of boosts the serotonin a bit, Let's start like yippee!
Yeah.
Whoa,
let's be a little fun. Soundboard Dara.
Just turning into Tom Nook.
Oh my god. I think this is a really good movie to watch when you're like 18 and, leaving the nest for the first time. However, I will say that I wish finding a place to live was this easy.
Oh my god, if a friendly pregnant baker lady would be like, oh, you want the room upstairs and the phone, and all you have to do is sit down here at the front desk of a bakery like maybe once a week. She's not putting Kiki's ass to work. She's like, you can work here. I'm like, girl, give her a shift schedule. Like, you need to be...
I need to see Kiki up at the ass crack of dawn, like helping bake the pastries.
Kneading the bread. I know his ass needs help back there. He's putting in work, okay? Kiki's sleeping also, in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can I ask, do you feel like there was one moment where they were all sort of getting acquainted in the bake shop? Why does it feel like Gigi has a crush on the baker?
Well, Gigi's kind of has a crush on everyone. Gigi's kind of flirting like with the cat next door. I would say Gigi's just kind of a flirt a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I guess maybe then, by connection, if Gigi is Kiki's like inner monologue, then Kiki's kind of feeling it. She's like, what a cutie.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
Well, I mean, her boy Tombo is like the main one. And first of all, let me just say, Tombo has the craziest T-boy swag I've ever seen.
So true. Special interest planes. Like, special interest blimps, honey.
Yeah, I love his character. And he's another one that I just love. Like, they really just made everyone so happy in this.
Yeah,
he got rejected probably 5 times, and he said, "You know what? I think this witch is really cool. I ain't giving up."
And honestly, I think he was happy when that blimp crashed because he was like, "Now's my time to shine." He's like, "Now's my time to take the rope." He's like, "This is what I've been dreaming of." He's like, "Oh, a dirigible crash? This is my dream." He's like, "Kiki, don't even come help." He's like, "I got this."
He had this planned out for, the first, 12 years of his life. He's been planning this.
He cut the brake lines on that dirigible, okay? He probably is the reason it crashed. He's like, no.
He was up on the roof and he had a sniper. And he's like, let me just put a little hole in this balloon.
It's actually really not that hard to make a blimp crash. That's why there are none anymore. Do you know about blimps?
No,
do you know anything?
Do you know about blimps?
Well, yes, of course. No, so,
I remember learning about the Hindenburg, but other than that, I think that's just about where my blimp knowledge.
Well, that's about all you need, basically. That's the big one. Is that a dirigible is an aircraft, and it's a lighter than air aircraft. So basically, you're putting something less dense than air in this big balloon envelope pocket to get into the sky, right? That's pretty easy to understand. But then there are, I wrote this down. Non-rigid airships and rigid airships. Non-rigid airships are like blimps. It's basically closer to a hot air balloon, right? Because the structure of the actual blimp is like soft, it's like canvasy type. And then they blow it up like a big balloon, and that's what floats. Okay. But then a rigid airship is called a zeppelin. So a blimp and a zeppelin are the two versions. It's whether it's rigid and like made of metal and hard, or if it's soft, and that's a blimp. So I do believe that this one was a zeppelin. It seemed hard. It didn't seem blimpy. I think using blimp is actually the wrong word in this scenario. I think we should be calling it a zeppelin, because I do think it was supposed to be more reminiscent of the Hindenburg because of the crash, that was a rigid airship. Yeah. So it was not a blimp. But I like the word blimp more, so I kind of use it as a umbrella term, but that is factually incorrect. A dirigible and a blimp. It's like a rectangle square situation, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
All blimps are dirigibles, but all dirigibles are not blimps.
Thank you for this quick blimp lesson.
Thank you. I know about this because so there are only 25 or so blimps left functioning blimps left existing today, and they're almost all exclusively owned and operated by advertisers who like Goodyear. You probably know the Goodyear blimp.
Yeah,
and basically,
of course.
The only real use for them is that it's super inefficient to fill them with the air needed to get them to lift and then have it travel anywhere. So it's mostly just good for floating. So they're really good for camera crews up in the sky, right? Because you have a set platform high up in the sky that's just floating in one exact spot for a very long period of time.
That
like
is so smart.
Yeah, above like sports arenas and stuff. Blimps, but the blimps are owned by advertisers, obviously, so it says, MetLife, Hood, Goodyear, with the camera crew up there. And that's basically all they're used for now, because it's just such an inefficient mode of travel. It uses so much energy. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And very tumultuous. They crash a lot, especially in the early development of blimps. Filling it up with helium, like, that's fucking flammable, you idiot. Like, you're filling up a thing with flammable gas. Like, of course it's gonna burst into flames. That's why there's so many blimp accidents. Because it's a stupid idea.
I mean, it was stupid enough to be brilliant, though, like, for the times.
Well, yes, but we don't use them anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, yeah.
That's why if you see a blimp, it's really special. Because they're not a lot.
I was gonna say, I feel like I have seen a couple of blimps in my day, but certainly not often. I am partial to a hot air balloon, though. Have you ever been to, like, a hot air balloon fest?
No. Have you ever been in one?
No. I'm not a heights person. I think...
I think I would love that. I would love to go up in a hot air balloon.
I think I would. I think it would freak me out for the first, 20 minutes, but I would love to do it. But if you ever find yourself up in, Vermont or something like that, those bitches are always sending off hot air balloons. And it's gorgeous, over these big covered bridges and shit, with all the foliage, and there's just a spattering of hot air balloons in the sky.
If I won the lottery, there would be signs. I would not tell anyone, but there would be signs. I would be in a hot air balloon. Oh, yeah. I would have the most elaborate hot air balloon that I would just send up, every Sunday on a beautiful landscape. And I would just enjoy the view, and I would let everyone else enjoy the beautiful view of my hot air balloon. Because it's so nice. You're participating in the scenery.
Yeah, honestly. Are your two cats going to be the things that are on your hot air balloon?
Oh my god, a hot air balloon shaped like a big cat with ears? Mm-hmm. That would be so cute. I was trying to come up with a list of talking black cats in media. Not witch specific, but it does inherently just end up being witch specific. But there really are not as many as I thought there were. I was trying to come up with a bracket so we could do a fight. A fighting bracket of all the talking black cats. But really the only ones I got were Gigi, the cat from Coraline, Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Love Salem.
Thackeray Binks from Hocus Pocus, the little talking black cat.
Sure.
And Luna from Sailor Moon. That's basically
I never watched Sailor Moon.
It's very similar to this. It's, a talking black cat that the black cat is always sort of the inner monologue narrator character. They always sort of push that onto the black cat. They're like, you can be the reliable narrator of the story. You can say what everyone is thinking, right? Mm-hmm. But I have a cat who reminds me a lot of the cat from Coraline. I always call him Keith David because he's sort of wiry and spindly and kind of weird. And I don't really know if I have a Gigi though. I would say maybe the one who's the Coraline. His name is Winston. Maybe Winston is also kind of a Gigi, but he's more of a Keith David for sure.
It's just tough because both of your cats are a little elusive. Like, they're not quite, like... But, I mean, you live with them. I think they're probably, obviously, more friendly with you.
They're a little shy, for sure. You tried to pick Bean up once, and she did not like that shit. Because she looks...
Every now and then.
It's so unfortunate, because I have this black cat. I have two, Winston and Bean. Their brother and sister. So the girl, Bean, she is so fat, and we cannot get her to lose weight. Literally, I have tried to starve this animal, and she just gets fatter. Like, no, I haven't actually tried to starve her, but we put her on diets, though.
You're gonna have to put her on a treadmill.
For real. Well, she's like the Jack Black of cats, though, because she's so agile. She's so, like, athletic, and she will do, like, a front handspring, and I'm like, girl, you are obese, but, like, she really can still get it. She's jumping up the walls. No, she's an agile, and that's what the doctors are like, she's healthy, she's just huge. But it's really unfortunate, because she looks...
Here's the thing. She's built like a football player. That's what it is.
Linebacker Miss Bean. But she's not, like, lazy with it, because, you know, a lot of fat cats are kind of lazy. Like, no, she's doing laps. She's just a big girl.
I've seen it. Yeah, that girl runs the house.
And it's hilarious, because she's so big. And it thumps. And I really think my downstairs neighbors, I'm like, when Bean is doing her laps, it's not... Sometimes she does, like, parkour. They do parkour. They, like, kick off the sides of the walls. And I'm like, our neighbors fucking hate us, bro. Me on my rent application, 2 well-behaved indoor black cats should not be a problem. Meanwhile... Absolutely not. But she looks like a Beanie Baby. She looks like an adorable little plushy stuffed animal of a cat. And she does not want to be picked up. So I just want to hold her and squeeze her. But I want to put a little TY tag on her fucking ear because she's literally a Beanie Baby.
She's genuine. Like, that's the thing is in my mind palace right now, I'm holding Bean. I can feel her. You know what I mean? Because she has I don't know what it is, but it is like the weight proportions of a Beanie Baby, just times, 50.
Right, and it's weird because the other one is the lap cat, and he's all bony and spindly, and so he's sitting in my lap.
Bony?
He's real bony. Oh, because he sits in my lap, and I'm like, you're hurting me. I'm like, you're being such a nice, cuddly boy, but, like, literally your thigh bone is, like, jabbing into my side because he's just
his elbow is, like, in, like, the crease of your thigh or whatever.
I very much have a Kiki Booba situation going on, where Winston is Kiki and Bean is Booba, but the Kiki is the one who wants to cuddle, and the Booba does not, and it just doesn't really make sense, like, for me. You know Kiki and Booba, right?
No!
You don't know? Okay, so Kiki and Booba this is not very good for podcasting because it's sort of a visual medium, but you can just Google Kiki and Booba. But it's basically two shapes. It's 2 shapes, and one of them is very spiky, and the other one is very blobbish, and it's sort of this theory that anything can be categorized as being, especially people, are Kiki or Booba. You're either sort of sharp or you're sort of round. And you can kind of get a sense of are you Kiki or are you Booba? I'm definitely a little more Booba, I think. I have very round features. I'm sort of a round person. I've never heard about this
before.
Anything. I'm like, Kiki, Booba. Like, you can point at anything. I'm like, this microphone, Booba. But my computer is Kiki. And you can really get into a mind hole of, like, I pick up a carrot and I'm like, so Kiki. Like,
I think I'm definitely more Booba.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty Booba podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't get very Kiki very often, but when I do, honey.
Don't make me get Kiki with you.
Don't make me deliver on this Kiki.
Do you think you can handle a broomstick?
No,
like in the way that
I cannot handle my Subaru Crosstrek. I cannot handle.
That's a lot. I think that's a lot.
I can't ride a bike.
That's true.
I don't know how to ride a bike. I could not be riding a broom like that.
You ride an electric bike.
That poorly, very poorly.
I'm surprised you weren't hit by a car.
I almost was on several occasions, and that's why I have not ridden a bike since. I decided, I was like, I don't really know how to ride a bike, but I was on vacation. I was like, let's rent electric bikes. And I was like, trial by fire. How hard can it be? Children do it. It turns out hard. Turns out riding a bike in the middle of the street, an electric bike, they're like, it goes up to 30 miles per hour, so you can just ride it on the road with the cars if you want. And I was like, don't say that to me. Do not say that to me.
Living in Boston, I see so many electric bikes around, and yeah, they go fast. Mind you, I think the most dangerous thing are those fucked up electric scooters.
Yes, that you can rent. Do you know you can get a DUI, or you can get a DUI for being on one of those when you're drunk? Drunk people after coming home from the bar, renting those are a gold mine for cops. DUI when you're trashed coming home from the bar and you're like, let's get on a Lime scooter. No, honey, that's a felony.
Yeah, well, I knew someone who was operating one while drunk, and they broke their face. Yeah. Basically. They slammed into a parking meter. Mm-hmm. And they needed facial reconstructive surgery.
Yikes.
Yeah, no.
Only do that by choice. You should only be getting surgery by choice, not by necessity.
I mean, like, it's just, like, I've heard enough people and, like, nurses, and specifically ER nurses, be like, those are the most dangerous fucking things. Mm-hmm. And they are. They go, like, again, probably 20 miles per hour.
There must have been, like, a statistical drop in, like, head trauma injuries, and the head trauma industry money-making business was like, how do we get these numbers up? And they invented the fucking hoverboards. Do you remember the hoverboard boom in, like, 2017 or so?
Seems like something your brother would have had.
Well, yes, and he got a concussive brain injury from falling off of one, just like him and every other 14-year-old boy that year, because they all got those fucking, they were like, they were expensive, but they were still affordable. Like, you know, if you could get one for like $200-$300, right? Sure. And it was like super fucking cool. But those things went so fast. If you stood on it and leaned the wrong way, it would zip right out from under your feet. And I was like,
oh yeah, did you ever try it? Those things are difficult. Because
every time I saw someone do it, they would fall off and slam their head. And I said, couldn't be me, hun. I know my limits.
Yep. Yeah, I remember, I think I stood on one for about 5 minutes with someone, like, holding my hands. Yep. Yeah, no, good on that. Good. I don't have balance like that. Center of gravity, no, I'm good. I don't know how men did it, too. Because those were always the people that I would see on them. Mm-hmm. And their center of gravity is in their shoulders. Girl, you need to have your center of gravity in your hips to operate that.
Puswana, right? In the core.
Like, yeah, like, no wonder every man got a brain injury from those.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they were leading with the shoulders and they just conked the back of the head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, have you seen now? There's the those big one-wheel boards that people ride around on.
Worse.
Horrifying. And those are, like, I see men on their way to, like, their accounting jobs on those.
Yes, in full business garb with a briefcase, zipping around. I'm like, you look so silly. That's whimsical. That's silly, whimsical behavior right there. Honestly, I can respect it. Getting on your silly little motorized unicycle to go to your accounting job, add a little fun to your day, Mark.
Yeah.
I see it for you. I add a little bit of fun to my day. On my walk to work, I do Pokemon Go. I, like, make sure to scan. I'm like, I hate being in the city, but there are more Pokestops. So I'm like, I hate those less now that I have to pass 9 Starbucks, which is awful, but now they're all Pokestops. So I'm like,
yes. Fair enough. That's impressive that you're still Pokemon going.
Well, yes. What else
did you start doing it again during the pandemic or something?
I started doing it again when I was working at a library, so I did it when it was popular back when we were in high school. Yeah, and then I got a job at a library in, like, 2021, and everyone at the library, they're like, do you do Pogo? And I'm like, what the fuck is Pogo? And they're like, Pokemon Go. And they're like, what team are you? What team are you? We need you on our team because we need to be competing with the other librarians to get the gym, because all libraries are Pokemon gyms, as is known fact. So now when I'm doing my boring ass Wednesday night shifts at the library I work at now, I'm like, I'm taking over the gym. I'm spinning the Pokestop. Mm-hmm. That gym is red. Team Red. Let's fucking go. Team Valor. Let's fucking go.
Oh, you should have been in a little... I could see you as a character in, like, Kiki's world at the library.
Right. I want to work at the library, and I want to teach her about, like... I feel like a good... like you said, this movie would be really good to watch when you are, like, senior in high school, trying to figure out what the fuck you want to do. Because the whole concept of, like, burnout and monetizing your hobbies in this movie, I think, is a really mature concept to be breaking down so simplistically for kids to understand. And I think it's very beautiful and straightforward the way that they do it, of just like finding your inspiration, right? And I think of that speech that Ursula kind of gives her where she's like, I copied a bunch of drawings, right? And that's how I sort of learned to draw, but it didn't feel like me. And then I go out and you develop your own style. And I think that's a really important thing for not just like young artists, but just like young people in general to hear about. Like, absolutely. Just figure out what you like to do. And, you know, if you like to fly, then you can fly, but maybe you don't have to monetize it. And I don't know, just all those things about like the way you make money and that having joy in it. And like that dichotomy, I think, is not talked about to young people, right? They say, what are you good at? Do that forever. And that's not true. You can do a lot of things, right? And you can do things that you like, that you keep private, and you can do things that you like, that you make money from. And it's important to sort of think about those things when deciding on a career path, right? Because like you said, I don't want to be chopping onions all day. If that's something I like to do at home, I don't want to do it at work too. So I think that discussion is very cool. And what were we saying about Ursula? I don't know.
No idea, but should we get into our regularly scheduled discussion?
Well, yes. I feel like fuck, marry, kill Asano. Asano's husband, maybe.
Yeah, and then Ursula.
And then Ursula, or do we want to do maybe instead of the husband, the old lady who she helps bake the pie?
Yes.
For,
yes.
Maybe? I forget her name. But her and her sister were giving me like Yubaba energy. I feel like I see a lot of early seeds of
absolutely
Spirited Away in this movie, right? I'm like, oh, this is the kernel that you like extrapolated upon and like made it even bigger, which is a fun thing to watch. But
yeah, it's just nice to see.
I'm gonna marry Asano. Duh.
Of course.
In the throuple. The husband can stay. And we're all going to co-parent the baby and run the bakery, and it'll be beautiful. We live in like a walkable community. The way she's
gorgeous.
Like, oh, everyone in the bakery, just hold up a second. I'm about to walk 12 blocks down the street to return this pacifier to this woman. And I'm like, they're going to be there for 40 minutes, girl. Yeah. And she's like, let me just walk. Kiki's like, I got it, girl. I'm going to zip down.
Don't
I was like,
even worry.
Like, they're a good mile down the road. They left 40 minutes ago. And then I'll fuck Ursula because that seems more age appropriate, and then I'll kill the old lady because she's on her way out.
I mean, fair enough, I guess.
I would learn her birthday first, though. I would learn her birthday, I'd make her birthday cake, and then I would do the deed. There would be poison in the cake.
Oh my god!
It's the best way to do it.
Like that's you're going like Olenna Tyrell on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let her know it was me.
I'm gonna marry Ursula. I would love to have that cottagecore vibe, and just, you know, I could be farming out there, cooking our meals.
I don't have any skills. You can just draw me. I can sit all day. I can actually just fall asleep. You can draw a million portraits of me sleeping, and I will never have to work because apparently we don't have bills out here in the woods.
Perfect. Yeah, what more could you want? So I'm gonna marry her. Jeez.
Are you gonna kill pregnant Asano, you sick dog? You're gonna kill a pregnant woman?
I don't want to fuck her. I'm sorry, I don't. So, I mean, I guess she's gotta get the axe. Okay. I don't particularly want to fuck the old lady either, but, you know, I will.
Okay, to get those pies, to get that herring pie recipe, girl.
Exactly. Maybe she can show me a thing or two, too, you know?
Who's to say? Right? Or no, I would just do it to rub it in her cunt granddaughter's face. The one who's like, ew.
I fucked your grandma.
Ew, grandma made pies again. I'd be like, well, yeah, I'm gonna eat this pie and I already ate your grandma's pie, bitch. Let's get out of here. Right? Like, I love that Kiki sees the age-appropriate kids around and she's like, there's something amiss here. And they're like, hey, why don't you come to the beach with us? And she's like, I'd rather
kill myself.
She's like, I said something sinister afoot. And they're like, we want to be your friends. And I feel like that was so relatable as a young girl. I'm like, I also am skeptical of everyone being nice around me. Like,
that feels very much like you.
And like, you know, she makes the friend in Tombo and he's like, come hang out with me and my friends. And she in her mind is like, no, they're just asking me to be nice. They don't really want me there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, she's like, I'm all set. But like deep down she wants to go and she's upset that she missed it. But she's like, no. And the way she's kind of mean to him at first, She's like, no, I don't want to hang out with you. And then she's like, damn, I really want to hang out with him. I'm like, girl, you said no. Yeah. But I relate to that so hard. I'm like, very unfriendly in real life. I'm like, why don't people like me? I'm like, oh, it's because I was a bitch to them. Like, duh. And then what are you going to eat and drink at your little Kiki party? Everyone's going to wear like a cozy, like big snuggie. I bought this thing, not to go on a tangent, I bought this great thing.
Is it comfy?
Not sponsored, from LL Bean. And it basically is like a blanket with a hood. So it's kind of like a snuggie, but it doesn't have armholes. Yeah. So you can kind of just wrap yourself up in this blanket, but it has pockets and a hood. So you can I keep my little snack in the pocket and I have the hood on, right? Because you want that. And it's basically just like the most ergonomic way to wrap yourself up in like a fuzzy blanket.
That's
it's like
divine.
Somewhere in between like a snuggie and like a bathrobe sort of, but just it's so nice. We're all wearing those at the function. And what are you going to serve?
There was a bit of a viral tweet that I saw that kind of inspired this, but I think this is like a cake, ice cream, sweets, like sort of movie. I think you make a matcha tiramisu.
Oh, yes.
I know matcha's not for everyone, but it's certainly for me.
Is the tweet was the tweet you saw a picture of Patrick Swag from Challengers looking at the Dunkin' Donuts sandwich? And it was that, but it was cut, and it was the tiramisu, and it was the matcha tiramisu. It was like me staring at it because I want it. I saw that too. I don't fuck with matcha as much, though. I think it kind of, I don't like the grassy, earthy.
I love it. But especially like when you sweeten it up in something like that, I feel like it really, there's just something about it. And it's nice and light. It's not making me feel heavy. I could eat half of this sheet of tiramisu and still be fine.
I love.
And then I think you do.
One time I met somebody said, "What one dessert would you eat for the rest of your life? You only get one dessert." And I confidently said tiramisu, and they're like, "What a niche choice." I'm like, "What did you think I was going to say?" No, it's the correct answer. It's the correct fucking answer.
Agree. Like a cheesecake, I couldn't do that.
Too heavy.
I can hardly do a cheesecake once, let alone forever. Creme brulee might be my answer for that, though.
That's classic.
Yeah.
Not enough going on there for me, though. Because you gotta have,
fair enough.
I like a multi-ingredient, a multi-dimensional dessert. I want my desserts to be...
tiramisu is... All of the texture is kind of similar and soft, almost.
That's true.
I love the crunch on a creme brulee. And then I think you do a sparkling lavender lemonade with it. Get really, like, fairy with it.
Yeah, no, I love that. Those feel like very... That would be at like a really cunty but overpriced cafe, right? You get your slice of matcha tiramisu and you get your lavender latte and it's $26, but it's so... The interior's so cute. Like it was almost made to be Instagrammable and you want to be mad at the cafe, but the product is so good. You're like, this is the best iced coffee I've ever had. Like I can't be mad that the decor in here is so cutesy and that this latte cost me $9 because it's simply amazing.
Because it's actually divine.
So good. And I am going to photograph it. And I am going to do exactly what you want me to do. I'm going to post that shit.
Of course.
My answer is actually kind of similar. So
please.
I went with the pancake motif. There's throughout the movie, Kiki continuously buys pancake mix because it's like their struggle meal, basically. She's like, I'm not making any money, so we just have to eat pancakes. So I think you'd sort of do an elevated pancake. And I think that this movie, I'm so happy we covered it right now in this time that we are existing in sort of late August, because I feel like this, as people who live in New England, we have very radical seasons. We get all of the seasons to their most sort of nth degree, which I really enjoy. But this sort of transition from late summer to early fall always is like, oh, I want to cling on to summer because the cold is coming, but I also am looking forward to fall because I love like the foliage changing and everything. And this movie, I feel like, is such a perfect blend of like, visually, it's so much like a cool summer breeze, right? Like they're by the ocean side, they're flying through the beautiful skies, everything's very colorful, it feels very summery, right? Like the energy of the film, but she's also a witch, which is giving kind of fall and spooky to me. So the film setting like feels warm and summery, but
it's perfect.
But like the black cat witchiness of it all is really giving me fall. So I'm like, oh, this is the perfect time. So I think you sort of do a transition from fall or from summer to fall sort of meal, right? And so you have blueberry lemon pancakes, very summer, we're getting in that produce, maybe like a glaze, like a lemon, like a glaze instead of a syrup or something, right? Like a really decadent, like lemony blueberry pancakes. And then for your drink, I think you should do a chai. What do you call it? Like a dirty chai? Because that's giving me more fall, right? Like a dirty chai, like a lot of very cinnamony, very spice forward, but it's still all kind of doing this like breakfasty sort of thing. But it's like we're edging into fall. Like I wanted to bake something because I've been sick, stuck at home. So I wanted to bake something, and I was so torn between like, do I do a more summery weather appropriate thing and bake something like lighter and fruitier? Or I'm like, but I want to do the pumpkin spice, brown sugar, cinnamon, apple pie spice thing so bad. But I'm like, it's just not quite time.
She's coming.
We can pepper in a little bit, but I'm like, no, I gotta wait for it to be full on fall before I start baking an apple crisp. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
it's August,
like,
girl.
Yeah, we've still got stone fruit and like seasonal produce like that, you know?
Yeah,
we're not quite there yet.
Like the pumpkin spice displays at the grocery store are like itching my brain, but I'm like, come on, girl, you're not gonna get me yet.
Yeah, they've already got candy corn out.
Oh, that's
crazy.
Sick. But I mean, if you're a sick fuck who eats candy corn year round, hit me up. I want to know, because that's wild. That's wild
Tell me
behavior.
more about that.
If you have a bag of candy corn in the middle of the summer, I want to study your brain for science. That is insane behavior.
I have someone. I'll send them your way.
Year-round candy corn consumer, and not just in theory. Because I'm like, in theory, if somebody gave me a candy corn right now, I wouldn't not eat it, but I would never buy candy corn.
Yeah, no.
Unseasonably.
No. There's like 2 weeks where you can have it.
Do you hate candy corn?
I don't hate it, but it's like I can have like 5 pieces and then I'm good for a year.
That's fair. That's fair. There are some people who hate it so much, and I'm like, why do you hate fun? The little pumpkin ones. You can either have 5.
Love the pumpkin ones.
You can have the 5 corn ones, or you can have 1 of the pumpkin ones, and that's it at the function. That's why it's the tiniest bowl, the tiniest glass bowl known to man with the candy corn out at the Halloween function, because they're like, everyone is gonna get 1.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's all you need.
That's all you need.
Those pathetic little bags that people hand out that have 5 candy corns in the bag, and I'm like, well, it's true though. I don't want more than that.
No, exactly.
It's the perfect amount.
And then what are you following this up with?
So, unfortunately, my answers, I've kind of already said all of them, but Moonrise Kingdom, I think if you still need more comfort, you're staying in that headspace, I think you can easily just slip right into the whimsy of Moonrise Kingdom. And then Coraline for another good Black Cat movie. Or in real life, you can emulate my post-operation method, and you can get just fucking blitzed out of your mind and watch Happy Feet. Which is also very fun.
Yeah. I'm going to go witchy on this. I'm going to give you 2 options. Post-watch, you can either do the thing that gay people love, which is basically watch music videos. But I think you watch, and maybe I've said this before, I think you watch Florence and the Machine's The Odyssey.
I thought you were going to say you should watch Chill Beats to study and relax too. You should just put that on. You put that on and just take a chill pill, girl, and find your inspiration. Find your creative inspiration. Reconnect.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But Florence Welsh is like the closest thing that we have to a real life witch.
Well, yeah.
Besides like Stevie Nicks, but it's like her. She's what is it? It's basically like a visual album that she made for her 3rd album, How Big, How Blue, How Blue, How Beautiful. And it's just like stunning videos, and it's like 40 minutes or something like that. Or I think you could watch Practical Magic with Sandra Bullock and Miss Nicole Kidman. It's also pretty goofy, silly. Stakes are definitely a little higher. And there's a bit of, I'm not going to get into it, but yeah.
No blimps?
No blimps, just a bit of like sexual assault.
Well, yes. I've never seen that movie actually, but
it's good. It's campy, it's fun. It's,
Aren't
and
they
they're
talking
making
about
a
doing
second
a remake?
one, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but I like it, and it's, nothing crazy, and I think it's also, a fabulous little into autumn movie, so.
Yes, getting into autumn. I'm fucking pumped for fall. I'm just saying yippee and letting myself enjoy things right now in life.
Yeah, and that's perfect. That's all you need.
Yippee! I'll buy the pumpkin spice in August. I'm sorry. I like things that are tasty.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Call me white, and you'd be correct.
What are you gonna rate this movie? I'm gonna give it a
8.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
That's solid. I get +1 for nostalgia factor. But I feel like most Miyazaki movies are like solid 9s, right? Like Howl's 9 for sure. Like I feel when ranking them generally in my mind, there's actually not a lot of Ghibli movies I haven't seen because the ones that people say are bad, I just don't watch. Never seen Porco Rosso. Yeah. I didn't go see the new
horrible.
one. People, if people are generally like, I'm not into it, I'm like, okay, so I'm not gonna let it taint my vision. But there actually are. I've never seen Princess Mononoke. I have a bit to go through. I've really only seen. I've seen the big heavy hitters, that you need to see for cultural references.
Well, you need to watch Princess Mononoke.
Castle in the Sky. I haven't seen. Yeah, there's a good amount that I have not watched. So hit me up with your Ghibli recommendations or just other anime movies, Japanese movies, because love to throw one of those on. Gorgeous. My Coco Melon, if you will.
Exactly.
And thank you all for being here. 80s. Did we really even do anything quintessentially 80s? Who's to say? But we did stay within the parameters of the years 1980 to 1989. So, hey, that's it.
Yeah.
I would say minor success.
Yeah, we'll see.
Is there a next week?
Yeah. We gotta do Dirty Dancing.
Well, yes. And thank you all for listening. Please subscribe to all of the social medias. We're on YouTube now. If you want to listen to this podcast on YouTube, that's a thing you can do if that's your listening platform of preference. But we also have TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. Please DM us your thoughts, what themes, individual movie suggestions, chocolate or vanillas, all that good stuff. Thank you for listening. We love you. And goodbye. And good night.